This little garden snail, which is the same snail that they breed for escargot, is responsible for up to $7 million of crop damage annually in California as an invasive species. We'll talk about that and more fun snail facts as we watch this little escargot. Let's turn the page and get started. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 5:30 in the morning on a goodness, is it Saturday? It is Saturday morning, isn't it? On Saturday mornings, I like to do a little thing where I pull a toy from the toy box, a random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier, if you will, and I like to draw it and I like to talk about it. And today's random object is a snail, and I especially love drawing snails and frogs, so I'm going to take my time and have a good time with this. We actually do this every day at 5:30 in the morning Texas time, so you may want to set that notification bell so you don't miss any of them. I have my mom on my phone. You can hear her talking. You may hear her talking throughout the show. She watches the chat and lets me know when people arrive. And good morning, Rick. Lets me know if anybody talks in the chat so that I can pay attention to the drawing, because I am not skilled enough to draw and talk and watch the chat at the same time.
Good morning, peoples.
Hello, peoples. We used to always start the show with that, didn't we? Hello,
Yes, we did.
hello, peoples. But today's random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier is a snail. Now, this is the garden snail, the Cornu asperensum, I think it is. And these things are native to the Mediterranean. This is specifically the one that the Romans spread throughout Europe for food. The Romans carried these things around specifically for food. They carry them around in their satchels, and now they are live practically everywhere on every continent. They're very versatile in the areas that they can live. And they are very successful breeders. Which is great if you're growing a crop, if your crop is snails. But it's not so hot if they are destroying your crops. They are perpetual hermaphrodites. There's another word for it. They are both male and female at all times. And when it comes time to mate, they'll approach each other and they will race. I don't know if race is the right word. They will compete to get into position to fire what's commonly called a love dart at each other. And this thing is a calcium. It's a hard calcium dart, and it when the dart is covered in hormones, and when the dart hits the snail, the receiving snail becomes the mommy for that session. for just for that session. And it doesn't always take. It's not always 100%. Sometimes both snails get their eggs fertilized because what's that?
No, my computer. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Just for that.
Oh, that's me talking. I thought that was Dad talking for a minute. Good morning, Pamela. But it's just for that session. And again, it doesn't always take. They could both come away from that session with fertilized eggs. Or they could both come away from that session having fertilized eggs. Or both. They could both come away from that session fertilizing and having fertilized the other set of eggs. I do love drawing me some snails. This is one of my favorite subjects to draw. Their shell is calcium, mostly calcium. They grow it their whole lives. It is a part of them. You can't take them out of their body. They can't take them out of their shell like you see in the cartoons. Oh, goodness. Now let's see here. Do. What?
Look at his little face.
They don't have teeth like we have teeth. They don't have jaws and mouth like we have jaws and mouth. They have different kind of teeth that are like little scrapers, and they're on a ribbon that goes around this whole shape here, and they just kind of scrape whatever they're eating. They just kind of shave it into their mouths. They have about 14,000 teeth on a radula, is what it's called. And they're just constantly scraping at whatever they're trying to eat. All right, I think that's probably enough to get rid of the pencil marks so we can move on to the shading. I'm going to go back here just a second, and I'm going to add some texture to that shell. That gives us a sense of direction of the curvature of the shell. And then I'm going to erase all of the pencil marks because they confuse me. Hope everybody's doing well today. Hope you are arting alongside me today. The little girl and I went out for crawfish last night. And I stayed up entirely too late.
You've been making a habit of that.
You know, the problem is my daughter is out of school, my wife is out of school, my son is out of school, and if I'm the only one going to bed, it makes me feel left out. I feel like I'm missing the party.
I understand that.
Oh. But last night I got home from work and I was all excited. Going to take my whole family out for crawfish, and my whole family was gone to the Boy Scout camping store, REI. And I just
Danger, Will Rogers.
Yeah, Danger Will Robinson, Danger Will Robinson. So I just decided the little girl and I could go have crawfish on our own. We'll have a daddy-daughter crawfish date. Which is funny because she's delicately eating maybe 10, 15 crawfish, and I'm over there burning through 3 pounds. Anyway.
With their little pinky out.
With her little pinky out. Their shells are similar. It made me think of it as their shells are similar. Their shells are chitin. And I have snails in my aquarium, and the whole reason they're in my aquarium is to feed my crawfish Bob, my pet crawfish, and he needs them to keep his shell hard and blue. Hard and red, I mean. I'm dipping my paint in the blue and thinking about blue, but this crawfish is not blue. Anyway, he's got snails in his shell, and they're in his tank, and their whole point is to be food for him. Because of the calcium in their shells. It's a good source of calcium for predators who can eat the whole shell. Birds will pick them up and throw them down, crack the shell. Crows especially. But a lot of the animals that eat these things have adapted to eating them shell and all because of the calcium in their shell. Let's see, where were we? They have an epiphragm, which is a mucous membrane that they build when they need to lock themselves in. They practice estivation. Practice is not the right word. They estivate in the heat of summer when it's too hot for them to be out. They estivate, which is almost the same as hibernation. Almost the same as hibernation. But they'll close themselves up in their shell and then form a mucous membrane to make a door, to seal the door shut and trap all the moisture inside the shell. So if there's a drought or excessive heat, they'll lock themselves in and seal the door. So they don't dry out.
I haven't seen as many this year.
No, normally we see, but it's still early. The season's still early.
I picked at the universe.
It's just May. June, I guess it's June now. It is June, I guess. Yeah, you put that out in the universe now, you'll see snails everywhere. My mother's not as big a fan of snails as I am because her potted plants become uh, fodder for these little critters. But I delight in watching the little critters eat her potted plants, so it works out for me.
We should talk later.
Not afraid of you. I
Hey, your dad.
just want you to know I'm not afraid of you. He's on my side.
Watch out, watch out.
He thinks snails are fun to watch too.
I went through fighting the snails and fighting the squirrels eating the bulbs.
You two,
Now,
you two with your squirrels and birds and are a hoot. I probably never told you guys this, but this is my favorite part of the process. If you didn't know, if you haven't figured it out already, this part of the process for me brings the whole thing to life. It gives it dimension, turns it from a couple of lines on the page into a dimensional object with shape and texture. And I just love this part of it. If I've never told you before, I may have never told you guys this before. I don't want it to come as a shock. I'm not trying to be controversial.
we feel honored you shared with us.
I'm not trying to be controversial. I need those shadows darker though. They need to really stand out. This one, and then I need that snail shell shadow in the back over there that I've been neglecting. There we go. Just look at him. He's just so cute.
And this says, but it has, and now I have the entire Saturday I can try and deal with it. You shared with us.
Oh, yes. I don't mean to traumatize you, but at least I didn't drop that on you on a Monday when you'd have to deal with it during the week. don't think I said good morning to my dad this morning. Good morning, Dad. I'm sorry. I've apparently ruined Pamela's plans for the day because now she has to set time aside to cope with the news that shading is my favorite part. I'm gonna hit this whole thing with some ochre. I'm just gonna tone the whole thing with some ochre. Start there. We'll figure out how to get the vermilion on it here in a second, because I will need to warm up some parts of it. The shell especially. But I'm just going to start with some ochre. That way, if I have any places I missed, the ochre will shine through. I watched Ivy stream yesterday. Ivy spent the whole day yesterday talking about my coloring book. She's very flattering when she talks about my coloring book, and she tried my technique of shading first, and she's using colored pencils, and I'm sitting here thinking, how is that going to work? Because with watercolor I can dry one layer and not reactivate it. Be very careful and just not reactivate it when I add a layer on top of it. So I can use this grisaille technique to create the shading effect. But it was fun to watch her do it with watercolor with pencils. And the pencil doesn't do that. It can't put the yellow over the grisaille. As she always says, no, the yellows have to go first because it's not transparent. I mean, it's not opaque, but neither is it opaque in watercolor. All right, now let's get some thin vermilion and go over that shell. In the 1850s, during the gold rush in California, a Frenchman decided to take some escargots over to California and start raising them in California as a food product for the gold rush, for the boom out there. But the Californians didn't much care for the escargot. Wasn't something that appealed to them the way it appealed to the Romans. And so it never really caught on for him. He didn't make the fortune that he thought he was going to make. But he did manage to establish the little critters all across California. He did manage to get them established out there. And today they are still quite the invasive species. Every year they create between $4 and $7 million of crop damage for the Californians. So they just love this guy. Right?
A lot of damage.
That is a lot of damage. You're exactly right. It's a lot of damage. So they're real fond of him. Stray hair on the brush. Put paint where I don't want it. I want about that color, but I don't want it that dark. Where's my salt? I'm going to need my salt for this part.
Not on a snail.
Say again?
Not on a snail, you don't want salt.
Well, he won't feel it. He's not going to feel it. The humidity's got my salt shaker. This may come as a surprise. We have a little bit of humidity issues here in Texas, in Houston.
What?
I know. I know. It was a shock to me too, being this close to the ocean. Who knew?
Really?
Who knew that we would have humidity? Who could have foreseen that? You know, I remember my first time being in Houston for training and experiencing the humidity here for the first time like that, having grown up in Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma has a fair amount of humidity too. Don't kid yourself. But my first time being in Houston, I thought I was going to die. I had to have an inhaler. It was rough. It was pretty rough. No, you'll kill him, Pamela says. No, you'll kill him. I'm going to dry that, and I'm going to add a little more. I'm going to add another layer of vermilion and cobalt mixed on top of that. Get that shell the color I want it to be. I think that's just about right. Scrape the salt off. Yeah, I think that's just about right. All right, let's do a little. Let's go over that whole upper shell with some vermilion now.
I said, no, you'll kill him.
I saw that. No, you'll kill him. Did I see Rick earlier? Is he in the chat? I haven't seen him chatting.
He's already.
Good.
I presume he is.
I'm gonna.
Unlike the rest of you, I think he works on Saturday.
Well, He's got to support Pamela's habits.
Some of those, I'm sure he has ladies that need their hair done for tomorrow.
I'm sure he's like me. He's got a wife whose habits he needs to support. My wife has habits of living indoors and eating 1 or 2 times a day, and I work to support those habits. I better be careful. She makes more money than I do. She's liable to put me out. I'm going to darken this shadow a little. I need this shadow to really stand out from the snail. So let's just darken the shadows just a little bit. And then
Rick's still there. He's been studying on a hair color surface he has at 8:30 this morning.
I need to get my hair did. I'm gonna have to go see my girl today. My beard's getting a little whack. Once you find somebody who can trim up your beard just the way you like it. Once you find somebody who can do your hair just the way you like it, it's scary to even think about going to somebody else.
It took me almost a year to find somebody to do my mom's hair when we moved down here.
Yeah, I know.
In this area, nobody does wash and set on rollers and dry it in the dryer. They'll blow dry it and do a Brazilian dry or whatever it is.
I'm shocked at how many people in this area will go and pay somebody to blow dry their hair. I had never even heard of that, and then all of a sudden I find out Dianne Feinstein's getting it done, and then all of a sudden I hear about all kinds of people getting their hair blow dried, and I had never heard of that. Why would you go with wet hair to somebody and have your hair blow dried?
No, you go and you're pampered. They wash your hair, and then it takes some, especially if you have long hair. They do it in layers around the brush.
So you have to remember, I am an uncouth male.
Yep.
And all of that just sounds odd to me. I am not. Yeah. I'm one of the unwashed masses that the politicians refer to when they say, "Pat, little citizen, you don't know what's good for you. We know what's good for you." I am one of those people, and when I hear about somebody paying to get their hair dried, that's all I can think about is, you left the house with wet hair?
No, you didn't. I used to feel that way about having your nails done. I never, all the years I worked, didn't have my nails done. I did them myself. And then one time I had them done, and now I'm like, oh, I miss that.
Yeah. I like having my nails did. All right. I think we just about got that where I want him for some ink. So let me try it one more time. I don't want the ink to blur. But yeah, even for me, back when I had hair that grew consistently across my head, which is 25 years ago, if I found somebody who could do a flat top and do it right, because I wanted a high fade flat top. If I found somebody that could do it right, I would always go to that person, because it takes a long time to grow it back out. So I get it. Is Joe here? Hey, Joe. Good to see you this morning, sir. Do. I wrote my snail facts the wrong direction. So I'm having a hard time reading my facts and arting at the same time. But they are on every continent except Antarctica. But they're native to Mediterranean. They're not native anywhere except the Mediterranean. And so everywhere else that you find one, somebody brought them there for food. And they farmed them. And I've been trying to get my wife to get involved in one of these farming schemes. I've tried talking her into farming crickets. She's not interested in that at all. But you don't need a lot of land for that. But I wonder if you could get, in Texas, if you're a farm, you don't have to pay property tax. And I wonder if we could have a snail farm, if that would qualify us. And we could have a little escargot farm. I wonder if we could get away with that and not have to pay property taxes. How many snails do you think you have to qualify as a farm? I can tell you that France exports 300,000 tons, or 300,000 tons annually. That's a lot of snails. What'd Joe say?
He says snails taste like dirt.
Snails taste like dirt. You know, my very first time for trying escargot was at a steak and ale in Oklahoma City. And I was excited because I like being, it's more for me, it's like oysters on the half shell. It's more like I get to say, yes, I eat those snotty little things. I enjoy oysters on the half shell, but I don't know if I actually enjoy oysters as much as I enjoy cocktail sauce with extra horseradish. I'm not sure. I'm the same way as sushi. I'm not sure if I enjoy sushi or if I enjoy wasabi and soy sauce, because I cover it in wasabi and soy sauce. Joe says Google said 500 to 1,000 breeding snails will get you 10 to 30,000 offspring a year, right? I mean, you don't need very many to start with, and how much space do they need? Joe says he likes oysters, but snails are grainy. I agree with that assessment. I agree with that assessment. But again, on the oysters, I'm not sure if I actually like oysters or if I just like the cocktail sauce and horseradish that you put the oysters in. What is today? Oh, we went a little long today. It'll be all right. Today is the 6th of June. Ooh, is today D-Day?
Yes.
Everybody stop and remember the brave and fantastic men that hit the beaches on D-Day. How many years ago today? That was a long time ago. 80 years ago? You know, there's still a few of them still alive, still talking about it, but it was only the very youngest. Only the very youngest of them are still alive today. But there's my snail compared to the photograph. Let's see, 7 to 20 snails per square meter. Joe says you've got to have 7 to 20 snails per square meter. It's 82 years ago today. 7 to 20 snails per square meter. So if you have 10,000 snails, you've got to have 5,000 meters. 5,000 square meters, which would be roughly 20,000 square feet. Wow. I wonder if you could go vertical. I bet you could go vertical. I bet you could have shelves. If you had 4,000 square feet, 2 vertical walls and shelves, two vertical walls and shelves, so that you could pull the snails out. I wonder if that would get you enough space to have 10,000 snails to grow. Anyway, there it is from my perspective. I love painting snails. I think he'd look nice on a mug. He's going to look really good in the coloring book for sure. All right, so that's what I did today. Tomorrow, what do we have tomorrow? Oh, the suspense. The suspense. What could it be? Whatever could it be? Oh, you know what? That was the wrong egg. It's this egg. That was yesterday's egg that I haven't put away yet. Yes. Tomorrow, and you're going to want to remember this, it's the Alamo. Remember the Alamo. Anyway, tomorrow we're gonna draw the Alamo. We're gonna talk about how they fought to the last man standing. We're gonna talk about the reasons they were fighting that are not as clear cut as people made it out, as the movie made it out to be. We're going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff about the Alamo tomorrow while we sketch this little historical monument. So you may want to set your notification bell for that so that you don't miss it tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Texas time. That'll be a fun one. I've been to the Alamo a few times. That's a great place. But Dino chicken. No, it wasn't a dino chicken this time. Joe, you missed it yesterday. Yesterday was dino chicken. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. This is my favorite time of the day when I get to art with my besties. I look forward to it every day. It holds me accountable to my art practice and is often the only art I get to do. And I'm happy that you guys are arting along with me while we do it. We're going to be sure and be here tomorrow. Same Artistic Biker time, same Artistic Biker channel. And then we dance. We dance until somebody says they see me dancing, because when they see me dancing, that means the lag has caught up with the stream and I don't have to worry about being cut off mid-sentence. It means that everybody has a chance to say hello and goodbye to each other. It gives you a chance to click the clicky thingies this way if you're on the horizontal, or this way if you're on the vertical.